Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to this information session on the European Climate Pact. I see that we are still getting people in from the waiting room, and maybe some participants are still connecting, but I think we can get started and welcome everyone as they join and as we get started with the introductions. So I will start by introducing myself and the objectives of the session today. My name is Laura Maanavilja. I work at the European Commission, the Department for Climate Action, and in the unit that's in charge of communication and stakeholder engagement. And we are also responsible for managing the European Climate Pact initiative together with the Climate Pact Secretariat, who are also here with us today. So what we wanted to do today is to give you, people from different organizations, different networks, or people in other ways interested in climate action or what the EU is doing about it and what people across Europe can do about it, to get the opportunity to learn a bit more about the European Climate Pact, what it is and what it does, and also how you can get involved, how you can work with us, and what kind of tools and resources are available from the European Climate Pact that you can use in your activities. So this is what we aim to do during the Power Hour this morning. I will go through the agenda and explain how we work, and then we go into the content of the session. We will start with a very short update on EU climate action, what the European Union is doing to fight climate change, and then go through the different activities of the European Climate Pact, what this initiative does and how it works. Then we will go a bit more detail into the activities and the tools that are available. So I will hand over to my colleague Anna from the Climate Pact Secretariat for an overview of some of the key activities and tools. And then we will give you a short preview of one of our important initiatives this autumn, which is the next call for new Climate Pact ambassadors that will launch in a few weeks' time. At the end, we will have a little bit of time for questions and answers. For that, we will be using Slido. So you will see in the next slide the QR code for the Slido and the hashtag that you can use to log in. So I will give you a few seconds to take note of these. Feel free to submit your questions. We will do our best to answer as many as we can at the end of the session, and we will take note of any questions that we can't answer during the session and see how we can best come back to those after this session. Other important housekeeping points are that this session is recorded, and after the session, you will receive an email with a link to the materials, so the PowerPoint presentation and the recording, and you will also receive links to some of the things that we will be mentioning in the session today. So with that, we can move on to the topic of the day. So we work in the department of the Commission that's responsible for EU climate policy. And where we always start is the science of climate change. What I wanted to show today is one image from the latest report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. This shows the reality of global warming and the direction that we are heading to. So we know that the situation is urgent and challenging. We know that global warming is here and that it's bound to get worse. This is the bad news. What this means for us is that in the future, we all will live in a different kind of climate reality. The climate impacts will be here with us, and we need to work in new ways in terms of how our society works, how our economy works, and how we live and consume as individuals. The good news in this graph, however, is that we can still do something about it. You can see that when we tackle climate change, when we fight emissions, and when we prepare for the impacts, we can choose how much worse it is going to get and how much better it is going to get, and how we can reshape our society in a way that's fit for this new reality. So this is what we are trying to do at EU level with the policies, with the laws, with the rules that we are putting in place. Over the past few years, there has been a lot of work at the EU level to make the EU ready to face the impacts of climate change and move to a climate neutral economy. This means that we need to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, the main source of the problem. And what we have now, after the work done over the past years, is that we have this objective set in law at the EU level. We have an EU climate law that states that the EU should be climate neutral by 2050. We have put in place a wide range of policies to get us there. This is in areas like energy, transport, forests, consumption, in all different sectors of the economy to make sure that we will get to that goal. We have intermediate goals for 2030. We are discussing the next goal for the 2040 horizon. And what we know based on the analysis and projections that we have is that we are making good progress. The EU has already reduced its emissions by quite a bit, but we need to do more. We need to keep this up, and all sectors and all parts of society need to take part in this effort. The other side of the coin, in terms of fighting climate change, in addition to reducing emissions, we need to be ready for the increasing impacts of climate change. And that's the other part of our work in the department and in the Commission. What we know is that Europe is actually the fastest warming continent in the world. So the impacts of climate change are already here, and they are getting more and more serious as we go forward. And they will impact all different areas of our lives, from how our buildings are built and how they should be built, from the impacts for our health, for the impacts for the nature around us. So what we have done quite recently is that the European Environment Agency has published the first comprehensive European climate risk assessment that really looks at these risks, what they are, and also how they interact with each other. And what we have done from the policymaker side is that we have published a first reaction to this analysis. We have identified some areas where we need to work as the EU and also as the EU member states, and also at the more local and regional level. And this was published last March as part of our approach on managing climate risks and making sure that at the EU level we manage those risks better. So this is some of the things that we are doing. And the important thing, which is illustrated in the images on the next slide, is that this really is about all parts of society. It's about energy, it's about industry, it's about transport, it's about how we live and where we live. And it's very importantly about people. And this is the topic of the Climate Pact, is how people, how citizens, how local communities can take part and can make a difference. And this is what the Climate Pact aims to do. So when we move to what the Climate Pact is, we have three main objectives for this initiative that was launched as part of the European Green Deal. One is to, first of all, raise awareness of climate issues, what the EU does and what everybody can do. It's to encourage people and communities to take action themselves and to show them that they can make a difference. And it's also to encourage these people and communities by connecting them with each other across Europe. So this is the idea of our Climate Pact community, as we call it. And this is the guiding principle of our work. The way we are organized in this initiative is that we, as the European Commission, work very closely with the team of the Climate Pact Secretariat to coordinate the activities. But what we also have is a presence in the coordinator in each of the EU member states. We call them the country coordinators. So there's a contact point in each EU member state. We will show you a link to the list later on. And they are also supported by public relations agencies that help us on the communication side, really to promote the pact, to promote climate action, and to talk about climate issues. This is the core structure of coordination. But what's really important and what's really at the heart of the Climate Pact is our network of Climate Pact ambassadors and Climate Pact partners. These are individuals, the ambassadors, and organizations, the partner organizations, who are committed to climate change and who want to work with us and who want to work with their local networks and with their own communities, with their contacts in their sector to drive forward the climate cause and take action together with other people. So this is really our core network partners and people that we engage with. We do calls regularly to expand these networks and strengthen them further. And at the different levels, both at the European and the country level, we of course also have other opportunities to get involved and just to follow. This is what we call Friends of the Pact, who stay up to date on our news and take part at events at national level, for example. So what happens in practice in all the different member states is that this a network of Climate Pact coordinators, ambassadors, and partners organize different types of activities. These could be workshops, conferences, events, gatherings where we talk about climate issues. What we also try to do is to go where people are and go to places like festivals or fairs or outdoor events where we can talk to citizens who might not necessarily come to us, but who actually are interested when we go to them. So we try to do different kinds of activities so that there are easy ways to get involved and to learn about the Climate Pact and what we do. To help our network and our community to do this, what we organize is different types of capacity building activities for our ambassadors and partners, but also open to a broader audience, where we talk about things like how can you get started in climate action, how can you bring others along, and so on. So these are part of the learning and sharing and training programs that we organize. There's part of these activities that is organized by us, by the Secretariat and our country coordinators. But a very important part of the activities is also the activities that are initiated and organized by our ambassadors and partners. So this is a vast network of people who are very motivated to act on climate issues and who all run their own types of activities. On this slide, we just have a couple of examples of what they might be doing. For example, there's a group that's taking a climate walk to learn about climate change and its impacts and what you can do in your local environment. There is an influencer who is sharing her tips for sustainable cooking. There are events to talk about how to adapt our hometown to climate change, and so on. So it's really a very open invitation for our network to organize events and outreach that makes sense in their local context and for their networks and contacts. So this is a very high-level overview of some of the examples of what we do in the Climate Pact. What we would like to do today is also to give you a bit more of a concrete idea of what these kinds of activities can be, how you can learn about them, and how you can take part, and also how you can use some of the tools and ideas and resources that we are developing and sharing and putting out there for everybody to use. We share them with our Climate Pact community, but we wanted to organize this session today also to show that a lot of what we do can be used by others. We want to really share this with other networks, with other organizations, with other simply interested citizens who want to get started and who are interested in getting some inspiration, some ideas, or some tools for getting out there and doing things for the climate. So for this part, I will hand it over to Anna from the Climate Pact Secretariat team, who will give you some tips on where to go, what to do, and how to get started. Go ahead, Anna.
So I will be telling a little bit more about the tools, resources, and activities that are available to support our community and that are available also to you. We invite you to benefit from them. Next slide, please. So the starting point is, of course, the Pact website. We invite you to explore it. There you will find more information about the initiative and how you can get involved. You will also be able to see who the Pact ambassadors are, who the Pact partners are, how to connect, and you can find a wealth of resources available in the Pact website covering different topics, all related to climate action. You can find success stories. You can find information to help on different thematics, including to help debunk some myths and to fight disinformation. So we're sure you'll find something there that you will find useful. Next slide, please. We also invite you to connect and take part impact activities in your own country. And to get started with this, the first step is to connect with a country coordinator in your country to find out about the local activities, the events, and explore opportunities for cooperation. We also, of course, encourage you to connect with Pact ambassadors and partners that are active in your country, and invite you to take part in Pact events and Pact activities. And you also have the opportunity to submit your own events, your own climate action events and initiatives, activities. You have the possibility to submit them and have them profiled as satellite events in the Pact website. So it's another opportunity for dissemination. Next slide, please. We also invite you to join the European Climate Action Academy. It will be launched very soon. The first webinar is scheduled for the 1st of October, and it will be on engaging citizens and fostering behavior change. So the registrations will open soon, and the link will be available in the follow-up email that we will share with you after this session. The Academy enables you to advance your knowledge and skills to make a stronger impact on climate action and to learn from the expertise and the experiences within the Pact community. So we definitely encourage you to watch this space and to connect so that you can also benefit from these opportunities. Next slide, please. We also encourage you to host group activities to engage your community, your networks in climate action. And why group activities? Because they are an excellent way to connect with other people and hopefully to inspire them and motivate them to take action. So we offer some suggestions of activities, and we provide guidance, very practical guidance to help you implement these activities with minimum effort. And we also encourage you, we warmly encourage you to share the results of your group activities with us, with the European Climate Pact and beyond. So in the next slides, I'll tell you a little bit more about each one of these activities. Let's start with the climate walk. A climate walk is a guided tour that you can host in your own local neighborhood to showcase sustainable practices, projects, and initiatives that are supporting the green transition. Next slide, please. Oh, I apologize. The light goes off in this room. Oh, I hope you can still see me. I apologize. I'll stand just to turn on the light. Oh. My apologies for this. To make sure we don't waste energy here when no one is in. I apologize. Sorry, if we could go back to the previous slide, just to give you an example of a climate walk that was implemented in the city of Graz. Thank you. Just to show you what kind of stops can be part of a climate walk. For example, here in this concrete example, they visited a car sharing point where they discussed electric mobility, for example. They discussed the issue of soil sealing and the concept of the sponge city to help address and increase resilience. They also visited a bakery where they sell bread from the previous day at half price to help reduce food waste and also with a social component. And they visited an upcycling workshop and other examples. I'm sure that you can yourself think of other interesting places to visit in a climate walk from your own work or your own neighborhood. This is just to give you an idea. Next slide, please. And to tell you a little bit about the photo story, another of the proposed activities It's a workshop where participants take pictures, take photos, and use them to reflect on climate issues and solutions. And the resulting photo story that the group produces can be used as a powerful communication tool. Next slide, please, just to try to illustrate a bit further what this means. So each participant is invited to contribute with at least 3 pictures. One from a negative situation that should be tackled, another a proactive measure to address that negative situation, and then another picture from a positive situation. And this means that the photo story can be coupled with other initiatives, other climate action projects, activities, to help showcase their impacts on the ground, to make them visible, to communicate them, and hopefully inspire others. So, for example, you can capture the situation before, during, and after the intervention. And here's actually an example, a simple example from the city of Leuven, which is a city that has a lot of area that is covered with pavement. This means a lot of runoff during heavy rains. At the same time, they have deficit in groundwater levels. So with the support of a LIFE project, they have been running extensive awareness campaign and support services to help encourage and promote acceptance to the replacement of pavement with planted areas, and they have successfully gained public acceptance to an ambitious project in public domain, but also have been encouraging, have been encouraging citizens to also take action in their own grounds, and plants will grow and develop beautiful green areas, and hopefully the neighbors will see it and will want to do the same. So next slide. So just to give you a little bit of a taste for these different types of activities, another activity is the peer parliament. This is a facilitated discussion on how the transition to climate neutrality can work in practice in our daily lives, and what are the policies that should be put in place to encourage us going forward in this direction. I apologize for this. I didn't know that there was this problem in this room. I hope you can still see me and hear me. Just a moment. Here we go. My apologies about this. So I was telling you about the peer parliament. If we could move to the next slide, please, just to tell you a little bit more about how this activity unfolds. We do provide guides on 3 topics that we recommend for the discussions. One on sustainable mobility, another on sustainable consumption, including food, and another on sustainable energy. And the activity has 3 key moments. The first is the learning moment, where the host shares information, shares background information on the selected topic, and shares the policy options that are proposed, put forward in the guide. And then the next moment is for the group to discuss these options and to consider additional options that can be taken. And then the final moment, the group votes to identify the preferred options, the preferred solutions for going forward. Next slide, please. Of course, with this and with all other activities, we invite you to share the results with the Climate Pact. The last activity we have to share with you is the local climate action group. The tool, the guidance that is available to support you, helps you to bring together a group of people to work towards a shared goal, like implementing a local climate action project, such as creating a communal garden, a repair cafe, or a local energy community. Next slide, please. And this is also just to give you a few examples to illustrate what this can mean in practice. And these are 2 examples from Pact ambassadors. For example, Carlos in Spain has been working since 2019 with other citizens to develop a local energy community. In the meantime, they have created an association, and they by now have about 300 associates and are working to implement several collective generation projects with solar PV. So that this is one example. Another example we would also like to share is from Anu in Finland. After she retired, she came together with other women and started organizing events at the Helsinki Central Library, inviting experts to come. So giving the opportunity for citizens to have exchanges with experts on climate-related issues. And these events have been a huge success. They have, in the meantime, created an association, the Activist Grannies, and they now have over 6,000 members. So this is just to show you a few examples. And we hope this demonstrates well the importance of hosting group activities, because indeed they can bring people together and help you find like-minded people to implement activities further in the future and advance further, and to support to bring your community along. Um, these tools and the call to action inviting citizens to host group activities have been launched at the end of January, and in the initial 6 months, over 3,000 people participated in group activities, in citizen-led group activities, and have shared. I apologize. Have shared the results. I hope you can still see me, but at least I hope you can hear me, and have shared the results with us. So we hope you'll find these resources and tools interesting to you as well. They are a blueprint to get started, but you can, of course, adjust them to your own events, your own projects and activities, and we look forward to hearing from you as well. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to connect, even beyond the workshop, of course, and we are here as well. We do invite you also to share questions that you may have. We'll be glad to take them on. So thank you very much for your attention. I don't know if the colleagues want to add anything on this. I would hand back. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. These are really good examples of the different types of activities that can be done in the framework of the pact. As you see from the examples, they really range from something quite simple and quick. For example, a climate walk that you can organize in your neighborhood with a group from work or from your neighbors or from your family, or and just basically have a look around to see what climate change means in your area. And then on the other hand, there are these bigger projects that often start small. So you start with a small group, like Anu started with a group of 11 other people and has expanded to thousands. So there's really something for everyone in terms of what you can do. And what our aim is with these activities is actually twofold. And that's why we are also asking for feedback and information about the activities that are organized. Because first of all, we want to help citizens and organizations organize these types of activities. Because what we know is that while climate change is a big global issue, where the impacts are actually felt and where the changes happen is very local. So it is on the other hand, the impacts like extreme weather events, like heat waves, like floods, how we prepare for those. But it's also the changes that we need to put in place to create the new sort of jobs, to create the new sort of neighborhoods to live in. And this is really very local. And that's why we think that this type of small scale decentralized activities are where the changes really make a lot of sense and can really have an important impact. And we are also asking you who organize these types of events to share the results with us, because then we can bring it back to the EU level, to Brussels and to other places where policy decisions are made, and to really show what the reality is on the ground, what people are doing, what people are interested in, what they need to do, what they need to know, and what kind of support they need to take action themselves. So this is what we want to encourage with the Climate Pact. And what we wanted to do in the last section of this call today is to share an update on what's coming next for our network of Climate Pact ambassadors. We have over 800 of them at the moment, and we want to get new ambassadors on board. And this is what Mar will explain to you. So I give the floor to Mar from our team at the Commissions.
Hello, good morning, everyone. It's nice to see so many of you joining us today to learn more about the Climate Pact and climate action. And before I continue, just a small reminder that if you have any questions, you can go to slido.com and then put as code #ClimatePact, and you can send your questions there, and Laura, Anna, and I will answer them at the end of the session. So as Laura said, I work at DG Clima. I'm a project manager assistant working on the Climate Pact, and I will explain you now how to get engaged in the pact and become a Climate Pact ambassador. So next slide, please. If you're interested in what we have explained so far, you can apply to become Climate Pact ambassador starting October 1st. So from October 1st until October 31st, you can go on the Climate Pact website and you will find the application form to become a Climate Pact ambassador. This form is just a questionnaire where you can answer some questions about yourself, but also about your past climate action and future climate commitments as a Pact ambassador. Next slide, please. Oh, and here we had a small video from our ambassadors, but you can see that once you receive the PowerPoint presentation. The requirements to become a Climate Pact ambassador are to live in an EU member state, so you don't need to be citizen, just resident. You need to make at least 3 concrete climate action commitments. And here in the pictures, I have 2 examples of this. On the left, we have the Climate Classic. It's a cycling route organized in the Netherlands by 2 Climate Pact ambassadors. And with this, they aim to raise awareness on climate change because the route goes through what would be the coastline in the Netherlands if the sea levels rise. But it's also a fundraising event. So this year they raised 120,000 euros that they donated to Wetlands International. And then on the right, you can see a picture of a Climate Pact ambassador from the Czech Republic. She's giving an interview on the Czech radio about the Climate Pact, but also generally on climate action. But some other examples of climate commitments that you could do are the activities that Anna just presented. So you could organize a climate walk in your city, you can organize a peer parliament, and as Anna mentioned, we provide you with all the tools to do this. So if you have no ideas for your climate action commitments, don't worry, because we can support you on that. If you want to be a Pact ambassador, you also need to participate in 2 Climate Pact Secretariat events. These can be online because these are EU level. So we understand that people cannot always travel, and we organize a lot of events online. And you would also need to participate in 2 country coordinator-led Pact community events. And these are the events that are organized in your country. So there is, as Laura mentioned, there is an organization leading the pact in each EU member state, and they organize a lot of in-person events, but also online. And if you become a pact ambassador, you would need to join at least 2 of these. And then you also need to respect the Climate Pact values. You can find those on the website. Next slide, please. And if you're still not convinced about becoming a Pact ambassador, some of the benefits that you could get as an ambassador would be to have official recognition from the European Commission. And we will publish your profile as Climate Pact ambassador on our website. If you go on the website and click on Meet Our Ambassadors, you will find the profiles. It's a short description about yourself and your climate action that you write yourself, so you can decide what you want us to put on the website. And it's also accompanied by a picture of you. and your name. The pact is also a big pan-European network. We have more than 800 pact ambassadors, and in the future we will probably have more. As you know, we're opening this call now. And we also have 50 Climate Pact partners. And you can benefit from the network by finding other people to collaborate with. Just to give you an example, 3 Climate Pact ambassadors who are also researchers, and they were interested in sustainable tourism, so they came together and they wrote a scientific article on this. And by the end of this month, they will present this article and their work as ambassadors in an event organized by the European Commission. So the visibility is also a benefit of becoming a Pact ambassador. We try to connect ambassadors with other European events so that they can be speakers and show to other people their actions and hopefully inspire climate action throughout Europe. And as you have seen throughout the presentation, the Climate Pact organizes many events, both online and in person. And if you become an ambassador, you will have access to some of them that are exclusive and only for the community. An example of these events would be the Community Talk. That's a monthly event that we organize in which European policymakers present a topic that touches upon climate action, but also is related to the newest developments on EU climate policy. And Pact ambassadors can also present what work they are doing on this topic, and they can ask questions to EU policymakers. So this would be just one example of the exclusive events that you would have access to as an ambassador. And I think with this, we're done with the presentation side and we can move on to the questions. So I'll give back the floor to Laura.
Thank you, Mar. So this is coming up from the 1st of October, as Mar mentioned. To be sure to receive the information on when the call is open, we will give you a link to subscribe to the Pact newsletter where we will announce this. And of course, you can follow us on social media where we will also post on this. We will start looking at the questions. We will share them a little bit flexibly. I can start with the first one, and then I will hand over to Mar for the others, and we can do a team effort in terms of looking at the questions. How can Pact ambassadors engage with policymakers? Indeed, one of our goals with the network is that we bring the EU level together with the ambassadors who are driving action in different parts of Europe. We have different ways of doing this. So Mar mentioned, for example, our community talks sessions, which are online sessions where we usually invite the Pact community, but also policymakers to talk about a specific topic. So in the past, we have done, for example, on topics like, updates on climate policy, or for example, climate negotiations, or also topics like water and climate, or sustainable tourism, or topics like this. So this is one way of getting people from the network together with people from the EU institutions. What we also organize is events. So we have one main annual event in Brussels, and with also possibilities to participate online. That include parts of activities for the community to network and to get together, but also to exchange with policymakers. Then we do different types of activities and projects where we involve the Pact community in our policy discussions. I will give one example from last year. At the COP climate conference last year, there was an important process called the global stocktake, which was to look at the efforts that countries have done to respect their commitments to the Paris Agreement. We prepared a European contribution to this international process. And what we did is that we invited the Pact community to give their input on how they see Europe's efforts and Europe's progress on climate action. And then we shared that, first of all, with the policymakers at EU level, but we also submitted it to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change as part of the European contribution. So there are different ways in which we try to create these links and give space to these types of exchanges. And that's really one of the goals that we have with the pact is to bring the different levels of action and discussion together. I see that the order of questions is changing as we speak. I can take the next one that's on the screen, and then maybe the rest of the ambassador questions I will hand over to Mar. So expenses associated with organizing events and insurance. So in principle, we have events that are organized by the pact structures, by our secretariat and by country coordinators. So they are the organizers, and there we take care of the expenses of the organization as such. For the decentralized and citizen-led and bottom-up events, there it is more in the organizer's own responsibility to find the space to take care of the logistics. We are happy to support where we can, but we cannot organize things and find rooms, paid rentals, arrange the insurance for these types of decentralized specific local activities organized by volunteers or by ambassadors or others in their own local environment. So next one, Mar, would you like to take the questions on the pact ambassador profiles? And yes, let's start with that and maybe the statistics.
Yes, sure. So on the statistics and numbers of PACT ambassadors per member state, you can check it yourself on the website. You can go on the Meet Our Ambassadors SUP website, and there you can filter by country. So just doing that, you will see how many ambassadors we have per member state. We try to keep a balance and in all European member states. However, we do have more representation in some countries where there is a lot more interest than in others to become PACT ambassador. And regarding the specific profiles to become a PACT ambassador, and there was a question asking about limits. I don't know if it was referred to this as well, but anyone can become a PACT ambassador. Really, we have people from a lot of different profiles. We have local policymakers, but we also have influencers and teachers, researchers, as I just mentioned. We even have some football players and other athletes. So yeah, there's really not a specific profile. We try to look for people that can have a bigger impact in their communities. So this can look a lot of different ways. So I think all the profiles that I mentioned would be people that can have this bigger impact in their community. And I don't know if the question disappeared, but there was one about becoming an ambassador as an individual, or if an association can also become an ambassador. Ambassador is, yeah, here it is again. Ambassador has to be an individual, but if you want to be associated with the pact as an association, we have the Climate Pact partners, but that is not open for applications for now. So if you subscribe to our newsletter or check the website regularly, you can see if we open again the call for applications to become a Climate Pact partner, but that call will not open for now, just the call for ambassadors. And I think because they are changing all the time, I don't know how many I have covered, but okay, an example of who the pact partners are. Yes, you can also find it on the website. We have partner profiles, just as ambassador profiles, but some examples are, for example, Ecolis, which is European-wide network, but we also have more local networks and organizations. Like we have the Venetian District of Research and Innovation, and we also have an organization based in Berlin that covers sports activities. So there are really varied profiles also in the pact partners. Do you want to continue, Laura, or should I? take more
Yeah,
questions.
I can come in. Yeah, indeed. With the group of partners, we now have around 30 of them, and we are onboarding some more. What we have tried to do there is to have a bit of a mix of different types of organizations, not only climate specialists, but also organizations that work with culture or sports or young people, to really try to approach the topic from different angles and engage new type of audiences. I will take the question on the actions we take and promoting them. So indeed, if you are taking actions that are in line with the European Climate Pact, we very much encourage you to use the hashtag to share it on social media, and also to share the information with the country coordinator. They are really the central contact point in at the country level, who can collect the information and share it with the network. The country coordinators also share information with the PACT community in the country in different ways, for example, regular news bulletins or mailing lists and so on. So, indeed, please do use the Climate Pact hashtag, and please do share information and activities with the country coordinator. And for some activities, we also have specific feedback channels to feed in the information. For example, for the citizen engagement tools that Anna presented, there is a form on the Climate Pact website where you can send information on the activities that you have carried out directly to us, so that we can compile it at the European level and promote it and present it from our side. The next question is specifically on Erasmus Plus participants and how they can help raise awareness of the Pact and be multipliers. Indeed, we see the Erasmus Plus program as a very important partner for the Climate Pact, because it reaches out to so many people and organizations that work on education with citizens, with awareness raising and participation. So there are many different ways. First of all, we encourage people working on Erasmus programs to get familiar with the Pact and look at, for example, some of the tools and how they could be used in your context by your networks. We have had some nice examples of connecting with education initiatives, or for example, some of the Pact ambassadors as well as are from schools and have used these tools to organize activities. We also do things that could be very interesting for the target audiences of many Erasmus activities. For example, recently we ran the first European Climate Pact photo competition that was to collect photos and stories of climate action across Europe. And sharing information on this type of opportunities to get involved can also be interesting for networks like Erasmus and others. There's a comment on Climate Fresk workshops. Indeed, Climate Fresk, for those who don't know, it's a workshop format to learn about climate change and the science of climate change. We do have Climate Fresk as one of our partners in the network, and in the Commission, there are also workshops like this for the Commission colleagues. So what we also do as the PACT team is we try to spread the word also to our colleagues across the different Commission departments. And Climate Fresk is one format and one workshop tool that can be useful, as Luisa is saying, to learn about climate and to equip yourself with more knowledge and on climate change, but also knowledge on how to pass on the knowledge to others. So I encourage you to have a look at Climate Fresk and some of the other tools that are available in the Knowledge Hub section, in the resources section of the Climate Pact website. Are there limits? I think we sort of covered the question on what is required to become an ambassador. I don't know what kind of limits you refer to. Mar explained some of the criteria in terms of residence in the EU, in terms of the profiles, in terms of the requirements for ambassadors. So you can have a closer look on the website. And we will share the relevant links there, so you can already familiarize yourself ahead of the opening of the next call. What are the links and joint actions between the Pact and NGOs and civil society? We can look at this from the different angles. So first of all, many of our ambassadors are active in different civil society organizations and NGOs. So ambassadors, as Mar said, are individuals, but many of them are active in different types of networks, organizations, and this is also part of how they run their activities and have an impact. Also, in terms of organizations as themselves as such, many civil society organizations are now part of our partner network, and we work with them in that setting. But beyond this sort of membership of the pact community, there are also many links both at the European level and the national level for different types of events, conferences, initiatives where the pact works with civil society organizations and NGOs and invites them to be part of events, to be part of the activities that the pact organizes. Mar, would you like to continue with some more questions on the ambassadors?
Yes, yes, I can take over. So on the question about if you must have done these 3 actions already when you apply in October, no, we ask about your past climate actions just to have an idea about who you are and what are your interests, what sort of actions you have done already. But you just need to commit to do these 3 climate actions over the next year. So no, you don't need to have done them already. And the next question from Margarita, how can we let you know about our actions and our progress for community? So after your first year of ambassadorship, you will have to fill in a renewal survey where you write the actions that you have done over the past year. And then we read the results and we learn about your actions. But you can also communicate with your country coordinator on a regular basis. Country coordinators usually have informal chats with Climate Pact ambassadors. And during those chats, you can tell them about the activities that you're planning to do or that you have done already. And in many cases, they can support you if you're facing any challenge. For example, if you want to organize an event and cannot find a venue, perhaps the country coordinator has more experience with this and could help you with logistics. But that depends a bit on each country coordinator. So I guess depending on the country, they will have different levels of support that they can offer. Then there's a question about, can teachers from primary and secondary schools take part as ambassadors? Yes, as I mentioned before, teachers are a great profile for us because they can be great multipliers. And even people who are not teachers and are involved in the pact sometimes go to schools and organize workshops or talks to students so that they can learn more about climate change, but also about climate action and how they can get involved in climate action on a local level. And Laura, you covered did you cover the question about the Europe direct centers?
No, not yet,
No.
but
Okay.
we can go there. So yes, very happy to see. I assume some participants from the Europe Direct Centers in the call. This is a great network because really you have a local presence in the member states, and what we aim to do is we try to share information on the pact and the activities with the network of Europe Direct Centers. So we share updates and information from our side, and propose different activities that could be interesting for you at the local level. What we also encourage very much is for the pact country coordinator, for the ambassadors, for the partners to work together with the Europe Direct Centers and also the European Commission representations in each member state. We have some very nice examples of this type of collaborations. For example, last spring, ahead of the European elections, many of our ambassadors were active in terms of talking about Europe, talking about the elections, and talking about what that means for Europe's future and the climate future. And some of them organized events together with the Europe Direct Center or participated in events organized by the Europe Direct Center in their region. So so we always encourage the ambassadors to get in touch with their local organization, and we also encourage Europe Direct centers to come to us, to the country coordinator or the central secretariat. If you need more, you should be receiving information from us, but please do feel free to get in touch for any support you need. And I'm wondering if the ED manager in the next question is also the Europe Direct, I suppose so. So indeed, why not? The ambassador call is very open. So when you look at the requirements and the profiles we are looking for, it's very broad. We want to keep it broad and inclusive so that we really get the diversity of profiles and the diversity of countries. Once we have the applications in, we also have to do a balancing act of trying to get a good mix. But if you look at the requirements, it is open to many different types of organizations and profiles. This also applies to the same question from France, a cap on the number of pact ambassadors. You can see the breakdown of countries and numbers if you go on the pact website. What we want to try to do is to have ambassadors in all EU member states. There is not a specific number for each country that is set, but our overall approach is to have a balanced mix of profiles and of countries represented. And Mari, would you like to continue with the next ones?
Yes. So the next question on involving Climate Pact ambassadors in conferences and events organized by a city hall. Yes, that would be possible, and actually we're very happy to see that when it happens. Climate Pact ambassadors can usually also serve as a voice from the civil society in events related to sustainability and climate change. So yes, you could get in touch with the country coordinator of your country and ask them if there are any pact ambassadors in your city or around the region, and then they can tell you who they are and see if they would like to be involved in these conferences and events. And the next question on how many ambassadors do we have in the Commission? We have a few Commission colleagues here today, so I guess it comes from them. And I believe I'm answering from the information that I have on the top of my head, but I think we have around 12 or 15 Climate Pact ambassadors in the Commission. The numbers are always changing because after 1 year of ambassadorship, you always have to fill in this renewal survey. And if we see that you did not meet the requirements, then you will not be renewed. So that's why the numbers of ambassadors are constantly changing. But I think it's around that. And well, I see we don't have any more questions. It's almost 11. So okay, one more question.
Thank you.
I missed what time the application form will be opened. I checked, but now it is closed. Yes, so it will open on the 1st of October. If you want to receive more news on the pact or be notified once it opens, you can subscribe to our newsletter. We have the QR code to subscribe to the newsletter on the next slide. So
I think we can move to that. Thank you. This is absolutely perfect because we managed to answer all the questions that you posted for now, and we are finishing the session in time. So we are very happy for this excellent collaboration between all of us. Here is the link to the newsletter, as Mar mentioned. That's really the link to use to be sure to stay updated on what's coming up next in the pact. So so please check the code, check the links, go on the pact website, explore more. And after this session, you will receive an email with some of the links and reminders for you that you can take forward then in your activities going forward. So with that, I think we are getting to the end of the session. Thank you very much. I hope it was useful for you. For us, it's really great to be in touch with you. So we look forward to hearing from you, to being in contact with you, and to working together with you. Thank you very much, Mar and Anna, for being part of the session, and thank you for the Climate Pact Secretariat team for organizing. And let's keep up the good work all together. And I wish you a very nice day. Thank you all, and bye bye.
Bye.